Most popular ones were black, gray, and red. As quickly as they came in, they went out, and the public moved on to the next fad.
Parachute pants. At least it's alliteration. I'll give you that.
Boys and B-girls would face off in an impromptu dance competition where the only...
Okay, what are they wearing? Jeez Louise. That's like a crop top, muscle fit crop top, and then we got... Yeah, this is I think this whole wave of fashion fads with the break dancing scene that came into play, things just started getting really yeah, I don't know what was going on in the 1980s, man. The 1980s, everyone was just trying different styles for some reason.
Huge hair for ladies is still a thing stuck in the 80s.
See, this is the thing. Did you women watching this ever consider going back to these 1980s hairstyles? Or do you feel like you wouldn't do it again because that's kind of like a thing of the past? With another video from Retty of History. Guys, look, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, I reacted to a few videos from him, then subscribe. Link to the original video will be in the description below, guys. But today we're going to be checking out some 1980s forgotten fads. I'm very curious to see what he's going to say in this one as well, because, you know, the deeper I'm getting into this rabbit hole, it seems like the 1980s were the time where things really started to shake up. Do you know what I'm saying, in terms of the hairstyles and the types of clothes, and you know, I feel like fashion in the 1980s was a very interesting one. So ironically enough, I'm seeing the first literal frame on this screen is from The Breakfast Club. I recently did a reaction to the full movie on the Patreon, so if you guys want to check that out, as well as some other movies that I've got on there you'll get access to, like Prince's Purple Rain movie, as well as his 2 albums, the Sign of the Times album being one of them, and his Purple Rain album. I've done those as well. And I'm doing some 1980s sitcoms, being Married with Children, and I plan on doing a lot more of all of that content. So if you guys are interested in any of that, then you know where to go. But guys, with that being said, let's get straight into this video. Let's go.
1980s was a decade of bright colors, big hair.
So these guys are all cliques in these high school times, right? So I wonder what cliques you guys were in when you were in 1980s high school. I would love to see what you guys on YouTube have to say about that as well. I would have been a mix between the jock, so the sporty one, and the nerdy one. I would have been a blend between the two. But guys, let's continue, man. Sorry, I just want to do a little segue.
The 1980s was a decade of bright colors, big hair, and lots of flair.
Tell me about it, man.
If you grew up during that time, then I'm sure you have some fond memories. Some of the items that came out seemed futuristic at the time, but many of them have paved the way for how things are today. In this video, we will have a closer look at some of the fads of the 1980s.
Oh, is that WWF at the time, or WWE?
The boombox was introduced to the American market during the late 1970s, but it was the 1980s when this became super popular.
Oh wow, okay.
Some of these boomboxes were quite large and about the size of a suitcase. They required 8 to 10 D-cell batteries, which would last 6 to 8 hours, depending on whether or not you were using the cassette player.
Wow.
If you had one of these, then maybe you cranked up Van Halen or Bon Jovi, but there's a good chance that it was playing Run DMC, LL Cool J, or the Beastie Boys.
Never heard of those 3 names. Run DMC, the Beastie Boys, and LL Cool J. I know that's going to probably sound shocking to you. Look, if you want me to check those ones out, then go over to my music channel and let me know in the comment section below, and then I'll react to them on my music channel. Again, link to that will be in the description of this video. But that boombox took me so long I kept getting that one mixed up with the Walkman, because you could put cassettes into that as well, isn't it? So yeah, now I know the big one is the boombox. So thank you guys for correcting. It took me too long to figure that one out, I'll be so honest. Even I still get the VHS stuff and the VCRs thingies mixed up, but well, they're not the same. You put the VHS in the VC. But either way, like these things, I don't know why to this day I still find it confusing. But I'm getting there.
If you had one of these, then maybe you cranked up Van Halen or Bon Jovi. But there's a good chance that it was playing Run DMC, LL Cool J, or the Beastie Boys.
Those are some big chains.
The boombox was heavily associated with urban communities, which is where it got the nickname Ghetto Blaster. Some cities tried to ban the stereos from being used in public places, and over time they became less acceptable on city streets. However, this was a necessary item when you were b-boying or b-girling and showing off your latest moves.
Whoa. How does this
when
picture...
you were b-boying or b-girling and showing...
Broski's got tube socks on, doing kind of like a handstand on one hand, with some flexible. He's hella flexible, and there's a boombox in front of him. Is this like the breakdancing scene that I'm seeing right here? Look, if this is what I think it is, I need to see some 1980s breakdancing right now, man.
Off your latest moves. The boombox culture reached its peak in 1986 with 20.5 million units sold.
Wow.
Fast forward to 2003, and there were only 329,000 units sold.
Wow, it fell off.
Personal listening devices such as the Walkman and the Discman were responsible for the decline of the boombox. Today, people have become accustomed to their smartphone and a Bluetooth speaker rather than a boombox.
That's facts. That's facts. Look, boombox before my time. I've only seen these from these videos, but they look cool. I probably would have been someone rocking a boombox back in the day. Or just at least a Walkman. But I'm guessing he was just talking about how it declined because of these new ones that came through. I'm kind of guessing because they were smaller and easy to carry around. But I don't know. Then again, I don't know. What do I know? It could be for no reason. You guys let me know. But
breakdancing
cool.
is a form of hip-hop dancing that appeared to defy human bendability and gravity. It was originally called breakin', but the media labeled it as breakdancing.
Oh, that's what it was
This
called.
art form seems to have originated in Bronx, New York during the 1970s, but it was the 1980s when it exploded all over the world.
I need to check this out.
B-boys and B-girls would face off in an impromptu dance competition where the only...
Okay, what are they wearing? Jeez Louise. That's like a crop top, muscle fit crop top, and then we got... Yeah, this is I think this whole wave of fashion fads with the breakdancing scene that came into play, things just started getting really I don't know what was going on in the 1980s, man. The 1980s, everyone was just trying different styles for some reason. Obviously, I feel like, you know, the boomers and stuff, everything was so like classy and traditional, like suits and stuff. But then now we just 1970s, then the 1980s, and yeah, things started to really change.
B-boys and B-girls would face off in an impromptu dance competition where the only things needed were cardboard and a boombox. Oh, and of course a lot of practice. These highly talented and athletic dancers spent hours and hours perfecting their skills. Soon recess became a time when kids were doing the wave, caterpillar, top rock, down rock, windmills, head spins, and more.
That's insane.
Although this 80s fad has died down, it has never really disappeared. Breakin' has had a continual influence in the hip-hop, rap, and pop music world. In 2004, breakdancers got down at the Vatican before Pope John Paul II.
That actually happened.
Breakdancing will also be breaking its way into Paris during the 2024 Olympics, so be prepared for a comeback. We are probably going to see kids, grandparents, and even dogs busting a move.
I can see that. I can see breakdancing coming back. Do you know what? I feel like there's these movie clips that I see where there's like these breakdancing scenes that are just so funny. It's like when they're dance battling each other, and like someone will just do a move and then look at the other person's face, and it's so intense, and everyone goes, whoa, whoa. I feel like maybe some of you guys will know what I'm talking about. Maybe you probably watch some of the movies that I'm talking about. But I'd just be seeing clips. I might need to check out some movies, man.
Parents and even dogs busting a move.
Dog, look at that dog, man.
If you were a kid in the 80s,
look at the dog busting the little...
For a comeback. Yo. We are probably going to see kids, grandparents, and even dogs busting a move.
That is so cute. That's hilarious.
If you were a kid in the 80s, then the word parachute means something. Most kids played with a huge parachute in PE class, but there was something that was even bigger. Parachute pants.
That's what they're called.
These were made of the same nylon that real parachutes were made of, but they often had pockets with zippers.
Parachute
These pants made a statement for a couple years in the 1980s.
Yeah.
If you had these rad pants, then it meant you were bad. For all you youngsters out there, that meant that it was good. The pants were usually tight-fitting but breathable, and they became extremely popular when everyone was trying out their latest breakdancing moves.
I can imagine.
These cool pants came in a variety of colors, but the most popular ones were black, gray, and red. As quickly as they came in, they went out, and the public moved on to the next fad.
Parachute pants. At least it's alliteration. I'll give you that. But this one coming in and out, do you know what? This reminds me of like, what's the fashion fad that's nowadays trend? I feel like, at least for Gen Zers, yeah, cargo trousers / pants. I don't know. I feel like, then again, people still wear them, but These cargo, these parachute pants, trousers are just interesting. Like, I feel like it seems like this is definitely something that you'd be wearing if you was part of that breakdancing scene. But wow, any of you guys wore parachute pants, let me know what that was like, man. Let me know kind of how people would have like looked at you if you were wearing that. Like he's saying, he said you was bad. So were you the cool kid? Were the cool kids wearing it? But yeah, that's an interesting one, man. That's the first time I've seen it.
Was trying out their latest breakdancing moves.
Wow.
These cool pants came in a variety of colors, but the most popular ones were black, gray, and red. As quickly as they came in, they went out, and the public moved on to the next fad. This is one 80s fashion trend that has never made a comeback. Perhaps one day they will parachute back down into style.
Ready, man. Ready with some of these corny Gen X dad jokes, man. That's just so... Maybe one day they'll parachute back down into style. Like, oh, Retty, blessed. You know what? I'm sure he got a couple of laughs out of some of you guys watching that, man.
The Rubik's Cube is a 3D combination puzzle that was invented in Hungary in 1974.
Okay.
It was originally called the Magic Cube, but it was licensed by the inventor Erno Rubik to be sold by the Ideal Toy Company in 1980. Each side of the cube had a different color, and the object of the puzzle was to make all sides match their respective color. The Rubik's Cube became super popular in the 1980s, and almost every household had one.
Oh, wow,
Some people could solve this puzzle very quickly, while others could not. If you were one of those that couldn't, then you might have just peeled the stickers off and then placed them back on there in matching order.
Yeah,
you could have also taken it apart and put it back together.
That's cheating.
Eventually, cheat books came out to help people solve it, but some people still said this was useless. Throughout the years, there have been multiple competitions where people test their skills in solving it quickly.
Crazy.
The world record was set in 2018 at 3.47 seconds. Some people consider this puzzle the original fidget toy.
Yo, it's never, come on, man. Okay, do you know what? Actually, let me not speak, you know, because this is people really interested in Rubik's Cube solving. Do you know what? I've always wanted to solve a Rubik's Cube. Now that I've seen it, I just want to solve one. I feel like I would struggle, like really, really struggle. And it'll be really hard. Let me know if any of you guys can solve a Rubik's Cube.
7 seconds. Some people consider this puzzle the original fidget toy, as it came out long before any fidget spinner could ever think about. The Rubik's Cube may not be as popular with the masses as it once was, but they are still a beloved classic puzzle. Over 100 million cubes have been sold since they emerged on the market.
100 million.
Pac-Man is one of the longest-running, best-selling, and highest-grossing video game franchises in history.
Yeah, Pac-Man.
This game was released on May 22nd, 1980, and it quickly took the world by storm in arcades as well as the Atari.
Wait, look at these names. Pookie, Bashful, Speedy, Shadow. Pookie's a cute name, man.
Gaming system. The franchise issued folders, pencils, shirts, bed sheets, board games, and more. There was even a hit song called Pac-Man Fever. Pac-Man remains one of the most recognizable video game characters in history and is a 1980s cultural icon. This yellow pie-shaped Pac-Man character travels around a maze eating dots and trying to avoid ghosts that are hunting him.
I played that game.
The game was a breakaway from the space or shooting style arcade games that were out at the time. In 1982, an estimated 30 million Americans spent more than $8 million a week playing Pac-Man.
Wow.
They were feeding quarter after quarter into machines located in arcades, pizza joints, bowling alleys, and bars. People were playing this game so much that many towns across the U.S. passed statutes or regulations to restrict the games.
Oh, wow.
Des Plaines, Illinois banned people under the age of 21 from playing the game unless they were accompanied by their parents.
Wow.
Marshfield, Massachusetts banned the video game outright.
Wow.
Other towns and cities issued licensing and zoning to restrict arcades from selling food or being too close to a school.
Are you serious?
Parents became worried about kids being consumed with the game and not focusing on studies. This is a very similar thought process
Of
to what
today.
many parents think about kids with
Today.
tablets and phones.
Yeah. I was gonna say that sounded like how, you know, my parents were like with me with my PlayStation 2 and 3, man. Like I was like, they were like trying to make sure that I weren't on that game for too long, because I'll be getting engrossed, you know, some Black Ops games, you know, some FIFA. Or that's more UK, isn't it? You guys do more like and 2K15 or 2K went back in the day. But this Pac-Man thing really seemed like it got a lot of you guys in a chokehold, man. Like no wonder. Do you know what? Pac-Man, to this day, I play Pac-Man. And that's probably how it probably goes to show how far that game's gone, because to this day, I love that game, man. Pac-Man is such a sick game.
Consume with a game and not
Wow.
focusing on studies. This is a very similar thought process to what many parents think about kids with tablets and phones.
Yeah, it's worse
And
now.
70s kids don't judge too quickly. This also happened in many places across the US with pinball machines.
Oh, pinball machine. That's nice. Okay, do you know what? Doing these videos is actually making me look at arcades differently. And it's just making me see, like, to this day, they're still, like, apparent. Like, they're still a thing. But if they're such a 1970s and 80s things, then why am I always seeing kids? Like, why don't I see adults in arcades like that? Like, I always see people my age and kids, unless they have adult arcades. But it's like, because you know how, surely, I don't know why, you know, surely you guys can still read newspapers to this day. So I'm sure some of you guys can still, you know, go back and have some fun in arcade, right? Or maybe it's in the UK, maybe in America there's a bunch of adults going to arcades. But I don't know, like, because I didn't realize, I wouldn't have thought all of these games were like 1970s and 80s, considering how many kids I've seen playing them in the arcades that I go to now. You know, because they still have these games now, right? Like, so I'm sure, like, I'm just surprised that, you know, these games that are so common from that period, I didn't see as many adults playing it. Interesting. I wonder what you guys think about that.
The 1980s changed the way we look at music forever. MTV debuted just after midnight on August 1st, 1981 with the broadcast of Video Killed the Radio Star. In the beginning, the network struggled because the music video library was somewhat shallow. More and more artists started making music videos, and the additional exposure in the video format on MTV could propel these artists into superstardom.
Wow, yeah,
Michael Jackson became the king of MTV with his hit video singles Billie Jean, Beat It, and Thriller.
Ooh.
The network brought success to newcomers such as Madonna and Duran Duran, but it also renewed...
I don't think I've ever listened to a song from Madonna or Duran Duran. I probably have, I just didn't know it was from them. But yeah, another two that I'm not really too familiar with.
Brought success to newcomers such as Madonna and Duran Duran, but it also renewed life to veteran performers such as ZZ Top, Peter Gabriel, and Tina Turner. Later in the decade, the channel featured specialty shows such as Headbangers Ball, Yo MTV Raps, and Remote Control.
Interesting.
By the mid to late 90s, the original channel was airing programming that had nothing at all to do with music.
Yeah.
But to 80s kids, MTV will always be a special memory.
Oh, wow. Look at the TV that's on as well, man. That's probably one of the, that's 1980s, right? TV starts getting a little bit less boxy that you find inside your, like, cabinet. But, what was I going to say when it comes to these 1980s stuff? I forgot. Let's just move on from that. That's
The
embarrassing.
channel was airing programming that had nothing at all to do with music. But to 80s kids, MTV will always be a special memory. Keeping up with the time was important, but so was looking cool. And that is where Swatch watches come in. The Swiss watch industry was suffering due to the rise of digital quartz watches. They were much cheaper to produce and purchase by the consumers. In order to combat this new trend, Swatch came out with some new fashionable watches that made wearing them totally cool. They came in all sorts of colors and designs. Some people even chose to wear more than one. They were meant to appeal to the younger generation, and many people collected them. One other popular trend was rubber bands that would cover the watch face and protect it. These also came in an array of colors, and many people would have two twisted across the face of the watch. Swatch watches are still being made today, although they aren't quite as popular as they were in the 1980s.
Okay, yeah, see, look, I'm going to say this off the jump, yeah. You see how many colors are on these, like, Swatch watches? Like, that, this is, I can just tell this is 1980s because like I feel like when I've seen some of the like not even the fashion fads, but like some of the household things you guys had, the like how colorful some of the carpet, the shag carpet was, or like the walls were, and like the fluorescent kind of theme, like the couch. Um, it's to say, I feel like these wouldn't work on, because they said he was targeted towards the younger generation. It wouldn't work on kids now because I feel like we care more about simplistic designs. Unless you're like still in kindergarten, then maybe you like this kind of stuff. But then if it's not got like a Barbie or like some sort of, cartoon themed style to it, then you probably won't get over this. But it's to say, get this over that, sorry. So it's to say, yeah, it's interesting now because I feel like if you're going to appeal to a younger crowd now, the design, obviously we won't be going for like these kinds of watches naturally, but if we were to get these kinds of watches, we'd probably go for like simpler colors. I could be wrong though. I could be speaking on just myself, but I feel like, no, generally speaking, things nowadays are a lot more simplistic in design. Like people tend to prefer those kinds of things, at least the younger generations. But then there's nuance in it. There may be some crowds that do, but I guess it's probably less now than it was back then.
Made today.
You guys, from what I've seen, some of you guys are wearing some of the most interesting colors, and it was a lot more common back then, I feel like.
Although they aren't quite as popular as they were in the 1980s. The 1980s was all about big hair. There were many different styles, and what you chose to do with it said a lot about who you were.
Wow.
Maybe you went for the rocker look, or maybe you went punk. But some of the more popular styles were the mullet, high top, Gumby, Jerry curls, or the asymmetrical style.
Yes, I would definitely be rocking one of these box high tops. When I was young, I had a box high top, and I see where it's coming from now. People, all my days, especially black kids now, black kids don't do box. This high top thing is so out of fashion. Like everyone's braiding their hair now, like me, or even nowadays people are twisting it. So, kind of like I'm kind of a bit different though. I like to add color to mine, but either way, like, yeah, the fashion, the hairstyles of the 80s, the mullets, crimping hairstyles, these frizzy hair, like 80s hairstyles are probably the most, like, they're just the most exciting, man.
Mullet, high top, Gumby, Jerry curls, or the asymmetrical style. No matter what you had, it had to be big. Many women in the 80s crimped their hair like Debbie Gibson or wore it curly like Whitney Houston. In order to look good, it took lots of hair products, and the most popular one was hairspray. Tons of Aquanet hairspray was used in order to get those big wings and tidal wave bangs.
Wow.
The 80s was all about going big, and the bigger it was, the better. I'm sure that anyone who had stocks in Aquanet became super rich after the 80s. For a while, it seemed like a competition. Who could grow it longer or make it stand up taller? Mullets seem to be making a bit of a comeback, but the huge hair for ladies is still a thing stuck in the 80s.
See, this is the thing. Obviously, I know times change, but would you guys ever consider, like, especially the women, would you women watching this ever consider going back to these 1980s hairstyles? Or do you feel like you wouldn't do it again because that's kind of like a thing of the past? Because these hairstyles, I actually really like them. I think they're just really cool. I think they show a lot of personality. And I prefer the craziness to it, man. I always like, you see me, I'm the type of character that I like. I like people that do kind of unique things and kind of go out, like, be bold of what they wear and stuff like that. I mean, if you see my mum, my mum is a prime example of that. So it's to say, like, yeah, man, would you guys ever consider bringing back, can you guys bring back these hairstyles? Like, why are you guys not wearing them no more? I get times to change, but like, come on now, like, this is where hairstyle, at least for me, hairstyles in the 90s were so cool. Even these mullets, these mullets are kind of making a comeback, man. But obviously, I would never rock
the 1980s was a special decade, especially for those that experienced it. There were many items that changed the world forever.
Crazy.
Some of these may be long gone, but you never know when they'll reappear. Just like the mullet, the decade will never truly die. I hope you enjoyed this little walk down memory lane, and make sure you stay tuned because there will certainly be a part 2. Thank you so much for watching.
Yeah, shout out to Retty again, man. Another banger from him, man. Look, this is just a throwback, and the more I'm doing these videos, the more things are making sense. The more I'm starting to like conceptualize things and really understand things. I think I am, and you guys will just continue. Like, I need to stop saying that, because as soon as I say that, then if people are gonna start holding me to a standard, then I'm gonna I'm just not gonna be able to meet it, man. I'm just not gonna like be able to. I'm learning, man. I'm learning. That's what I should say, right? So yeah, I'm learning more. But guys, look, I enjoyed this one, seeing these fashion fads, man. Again, the 1980s fashion fads, it seems to be where it's at, man. Me personally, the 1980s seems to be that, the more I'm doing the videos, seems to be that decade that I'm like most wanting to kind of go back to if I could. And then it'll be like the 1970s, and then everything before that just gets a bit complicated, isn't it? For obvious reasons. But yeah, man. Guys, let me know what you thought about this video. Again, was there things that you missed out? Let me know some of the queries that I had in the comments below. I always love when you guys kind of give me some of your own personal stories. And of course, if you made it to this point, comment on a blue heart so I know who my real ones are who made it to the point in the video, guys. I love what you guys always watch through to the end. He just click off as soon as the video ends or I start talking. And of course, guys, like the video before you head on out. I've got a place at the end of the video if you want to see more videos like this. I've been your boy J Flex. This has been 1980s Forgotten Fads, and for those guys who made this point, you guys have been absolutely wonderful, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.